V Rising has finally launched today on early access, and to me this game is insanely fun and is a survival ARPG. Come with me as I explain my first impressions and the quest to become best vampire lord I can be. Welcome to Chaotic Inc. everybody, it's your host KSDTV here. If you're new here, then that's amazing. If you enjoy guides, if you enjoy news updates and gameplays on your new and old RPGs on PC and mobile, then you come to the right place. So let's jump right into the video. What is V Rising? Now, let's talk about what actually it is before we jump a little bit more into the meat and potatoes of it. V Rising is essentially a survival ARPG, more of an isometric camera style view, top-down camera. So if you're used to games like League of Legends, Dota, Diablo, Lost Ark, then this camera style will be wouldn't be new to you at all. It'll be almost like you feel at home. This title is created by Stunlock Studios. A title I've actually been keeping very close eye on. I have almost like 6 or so videos of this game itself leading up to the development and up to the early access. So I'm just as ecstatic as everybody else is who's been waiting on this game to finally launch. You play as an ancient vampire that's been sleeping peacefully for years, and you finally awake and you literally chose violence immediately on everything that Vardaran has to offer. The stakes of this video is to highlight key features that players can expect in your first few hours of playthrough, just from my initial gameplay and what I sort of went through. So let's talk about V Rising's gameplay and features, and starting off with who exactly is the main character in this story, and the main character is you. With that being said, you created a vampire in this dark world, gruesome world, and you must grow and hunt to become even better than Dracula himself, which in this world Dracula has died, and now the world is now ran rampant with different factions, and bear with me here, different factions of vampires, depending if you're playing on a PvP server or the case may be, and now you're trying to rule over the land of Vardaran. Choosing from the multiple servers, right, from PvP to solo and dual PvP servers and a singular PvE server, you could join up into, start your journey the same as every other player does, and once you go through a rather unique character customization, you could jump right out the gates running. Now, essentially, what is the goal of your journey through Vardaran? Now, there's actually a lot that a lot of people need to take in, so being prepared through your setup will actually hold some beneficial results to transform yourself into that vampire lord that your soul is seeking to get. From setting up your blood hearts to building an impenetrable fortress to ruling the lands of Vardaran. And here's another major key thing about Vardaran. It is broken up into 4 different areas, which I'm guessing ranging from 4 definitely different aspects of leveling. So you have Farbane Woods, which is actually your starting area. You could start on the east or west side of Farbane Woods and work your way up. The next one is Dunley Farmlands, which is literally exactly right above Farbane Woods. Then you have Cursed Mountain, which is the most northern part of the map. Then you have Silverlight Hills, which is more on the western side of the map. And then you have a minier area, which is Cursed Mountains, which is on the most eastern side of the map. And one thing that is cool about Silverlight Hills, now most people would be expecting like, where are the humans in this world? The humans are the most, I guess they scattered all the way over to Silverlight Hills because that's where they house at, that's where the safest at. So of course us infiltrating Silverlight Hills, they're not going to be too fond of it, and it's dangerous. I do know one thing that they do carry are silver bullets, in which anybody who knows vampire lore, silver is one of the biggest weakness to a vampire other than the sun or a stake stabbed right through the heart. So, but I will be making a separate video on all of the different areas and possibly look at the lore behind each and every one of them. But let's talk about the exact peak gameplay that you will basically essentially expect, and all of the features that you will notice from just the first initial few hours of playing the game. So your peak moment as you course your way through to ruling the lands of Vardaran is to have a perfect starting area, and like I said, I'll be making a separate video on this particular topic, but have a good home place to go to from the areas in Farbane Woods and leveling up quickly Depending if you are on PvE or PvP servers, the same rule will apply, but of course if you're playing solo, please do it on a solo PvP server so you can at least handle a 1v1 and not get ganked by 4 or so people. Another good thing is the combat. So the combat is very fluid and it feels so nice playing this. It's not clunky or anything of that nature. Like, you can actually feel the impact and the weight of all of your attacks, whether it's just your bare hands to a sword to the axe to the mace. You can actually feel the swing and feel the power through each and every blow that you do. Even with the spells that you give off and stuff, or even attacking enemies by feeding onto them, you can actually feel that. And that's one thing I definitely love about V-Rising, and just the pure gameplay. Like, that immersion is what really gets me sucked in. I'm like, man, I really feel like I am this vampire. And speaking of feeding, that is actually another feature that we need to talk about. So feeding essentially is just you keep attacking enemies and stuff. You keep attacking them, joining their health down, almost like Pokemon, joining their health down, and then once their health is low enough, a feeding option will appear. And once you're able to feed, it will give you a randomly generated percentage, which I don't know the exact number percentages, but from what I've noticed during my gameplay is that the percentages can range from like 2%. I had always the highest up to 11%. Especially when it came to the wolves that you will encounter, which is a lot, and there's plenty of them in Farbane Woods. You will encounter a lot of wolves, and that arbitrary number will give you a percentage of whatever the base stat is. So if you're doing against a wolf, you'll gain a movement speed or anything of that nature. If you're doing against like rogues and stuff, or like hunters and stuff, you can actually get a specific critical attack on that percentages of whatever you fed on them with. So feeding is definitely plays a major part, and as well as it also feeds your blood. Vampire, you will notice at the bottom of your screen where your abilities are at, there's that little blood pool right there in the middle. When you feed on enemies, it actually fills that up, or if you're even feeding on rats. I will be having a tips and tricks, so definitely subscribe to the channel, like the video too. I'll have a tips and tricks on everything you need to know about V-Rising, at least a beginner guide for you guys. But fill that pool up so you can be able to heal yourself, because if that blood pool is empty, then you will start to die slowly. Basically, you're starving yourself. So you always have to continue feeding, and it definitely adds a different aspect to the game because you need to feed and you get different stats and different percentages. And if you are 11% already fed on an enemy and you go to feed on another enemy that's at 5%, it actually dropped my stat down to that 5%. So you can't keep stacking your enemies that you come across. So that's definitely another thing to think about when you're playing this game. Now, another major feature I want to talk about in this game is the sun. Oh my lord, the sun is insane in this game. I feel like this sun is like, I don't know what it is, but they cranked that boy all the way up on like 90. Like, since you're a vampire, we know how this works. Vampires don't like the sun. They do their best work at night, but you are still able to play and still venture throughout the game while in the sun. Now, here's your caveat to that. So in the sun, you eventually just start to burn alive, and it hurts a lot, and you get this big blinding screen, and it turns all white. It feels like I just got flashbanged on Call of Duty. It hurts like hell, and your health bar starts to diminish quickly, like it's almost gone. So you have to hurry up and run back to the shade or run to an area where the sun can't beam on you. Is it still a way to travel through your journey while it's still daytime? Yes, you just have to stick to the shadows, go tree to tree, go what you need to do. Like I said, I'll explain that further into another video. I just want to let you guys know that be careful of the sun. It hurts like hell, and it feels like you're there. Dear Lord. So my initial experience with V-Rising has been one of those things that I've actually genuinely had fun. Like, I've played a couple of survival RPGs like Conan, another game that kind of gives me that same Rust or Ark Survival, games like those. Out of all those games, I truly feel like I'm having a lot of fun with V-Rising. and I really don't want this game to flop. Like, we definitely need a new ARPG like this year, like something fresh, something's good, something's new that can thrive and keep going on for the years to come. I feel like a lot of players who like this. I love the hype that this game is receiving. I love the love this game is receiving. It definitely deserves it. I know the V-Rising dev team is very nervous about today's launch. It's 100% understandable. I definitely get it. But I will try to work with V-Rising dev team, Stunlock Studios, and see how much content I can get out with you guys. I definitely can't wait to just continue just producing content. But like I said, stay tuned. I do have a beginner's guide. But let's jump into my final thoughts of V-Rising, my first impressions. So, moral of the story is just have fun. I believe V-Rising will be one of the best survival RPGs that we will receive this year, and it can actually carry the ARPG genre and that survival aspect forward in hopes of getting more titles out. But until we get more games in that survival topic, V-Rising will be the game for you to play. Right now, it is at a $40 price tag. It does have a DLC that will drop today, the Eldest Bloodline, and also the Dracula's pack. The Eldest Bloodline is $30, and the Dracula's pack is at $10. I do have a video of me talking about it. I'll have it in the top right hand corner. So if you guys want to check out the information about that, what you can receive inside of that packs, definitely go watch that video. V-Rising is quite relaxing as you journey forward to becoming that sweet vampire lord, and you need everything. This game has everything you would need out of it for survival wise, whether it's crafting to PvP, PvE, questing, and so on and so forth. This game is just massive. It's very massive. You have five areas. The first initial starting area is already large enough, and there's plenty of stuff to do in Farbane Woods. So I know it will take quite some time before we truly reach outside of Farbane Woods into another area. So there's a lot to dissect this game, so I'm definitely going to need lots of help. Hopefully I'll be working with YouTuber Sora Sen and another YouTuber Vulcan ARPG. You guys may know both of them. My boys, I definitely can't wait to dissect this game with them, play it with them, and do what we need to get done, because this game has a lot of content that needs to be covered. And definitely subscribe to the channel. I'll be giving you guys curated content on V-Rising, and if you mess with V-Rising as much as we do, definitely go buy the game. Buy it. Buy the game, and if you have the extra amount of cheese for it, definitely grab the DLC as well. It has a lot of cool cosmetic stuff inside of it. But like I said, before you go do that, check the video in the top right hand corner. And with that being said, guys, it's been your host, KSD here at Chaotic Inc. Signing out. Peace.
Manifest. I don't sleep, that's so weak, don't plan to rest. I'm from a hood where you die if you don't pack a vest. No culinary degrees, but whipping crack the best. Chefing, hard times taught lessons. Praying every night to pull up in park Benzes. What's my home is what you call trenches. You wouldn't last a day seeing life through all lenses. It's all tension, no sun, and rain and plenty. Full-time job, still can never make a penny. I ain't rapping for clout.